What's going on, boxing fans? It's Julian Williams with The Distance. I'm here with another video, another fantasy matchup requested by Consta, 4891. He requested this matchup, Marvelous Marvin Hagler versus Jake Lamotta. As you guys remember a while back, I had my top 5 chins. Number 2 was Jake LaMotta, and I had number 1 as Marvelous Marvin Hagler. And a lot of people have given me a lot of shit because I gave Hagler number 1, LaMotta number 2. But really, I still haven't changed my opinion on that. I still think Hagler. I still have Hagler as my number 1 chin. But really, this puts together number 1 and number 2 in top 5 chins. Just like how we're gonna have number 1 and number 2 in or 2 number 1s in my top 5 middleweights coming up very soon. Probably in the coming day or so. But anyway, Marvin Hagler versus Jake LaMotta. Jake LaMotta. Well, I actually recorded this video earlier. I recorded it on a WMV, and it actually didn't upload. And I thought I had a really good breakdown of everything. But it ended up being like 11 minutes. I tried to post it on YouTube, and it was going to take like 11 hours. And me, you guys know me. I was kind of like, fuck it. I'm just going to record it on another file. And sorry for the brief history. But anyway, Jake LaMotta. Jake LaMotta. As we all know, is a come forward fighter. He comes forward. And he wants you to punch him. He wants you to hit him. That's the type of style that he fought with. He wanted you to hit him, and he wanted you to keep hitting him. But at the same time, as you keep hitting him, and he's still pressuring you, you're getting tired. It's taking more energy for him to come, forward and continue. And you going back and pushing him off and continue to hit him. And then he capitalizes on it. It's something that Jake LaMotta kind of capitalized on. Was the fact that he was still coming forward while you're going backward, and either you're going backward and you're hitting him, or you're pushing them off, and it's taking a lot of energy out of every fighter that he fought that he knocked out, because eventually you get very tired and punched out and frustrated, and towards the end he was knocking guys out. So really a lot of people undermine the skill of Jake LaMotta. When people think of skill, you think of hand speed, power, footwork, stuff like that. Having the whole package, the whole total overall arsenal. And Jake LaMotta didn't have that. But there are slow fighters that have skill, and skill requires a boxing IQ and thinking. And Jake LaMotta had the boxing IQ, and he had really good, and he thought very well, and had very good ring generalship. He wasn't the fastest fighter. He didn't have the best footwork, but he knew how to get to his opponent's head. He knew how to fight. He knew what he could do to win fights, and that's what was very good about Jake LaMotta, and that required overall skill. And Jake LaMotta had skill, and I can name a lot of fighters who were slow, didn't have the fastest hand speed, that punch wide, that had skill. I can name Julio Cesar Chavez being one, Rocky Marciano being another. I can name even you can put George Chuvalo on that list of fighters who weren't necessarily fast, but they had skill. They they knew how to fight. And Jake LaMotta was one of those fighters that just knew how to fight, because you couldn't run from him for a full 12. You couldn't push off and start hitting him again for a full 12 rounds. Because either that, or you had to be superhuman and had to be in very good tip-top shape to be able to do that. And Jake LaMotta was the type of fighter that was always pressuring and always throwing shots and getting his shots in. And in the matchup against the Marvin Hagler, who was in great shape, had great pretty much had great conditioning, one of the best conditioned fighters in the 1980s. And other than being one of the best conditioned fighters in the 1980s, he had a good chin. He could fight different styles. He could fight orthodox, southpaw, inside, outside, you name it. Hagler could do it. Hagler had great agility. He had pretty good footwork. You know, but there were times that Hagler was just open to a lot of shots, or he didn't fight the correct way, or to fight the way he was supposed to fight. In order for him to win the fight. If you ask me, I think that Hagler was a pretty good technician in the ring. I thought he was a very good technician in the ring, and very technical. But in a fight like this against a Jake LaMotta, something Hagler will probably do is just lead in with that left hand, or lead in with the right. If Marvin Hagler stood in the southpaw stance, Marvin Hagler could give LaMotta a lot of trouble because of LaMotta's stance. LaMotta kind of stands towards the other way, because he anticipates the left. But Hagler, who could throw a southpaw jab very well, can fight from either way, orthodox or southpaw. Would probably give LaMotta a lot of trouble because of the stance overall. Because LaMotta kind of leaned and was expecting the left hand, and sometimes he come forward, and he throw that lead right, or excuse me, the lead left hand to the body, which kind of wore down a lot of his opponents when he threw that lead left to the body, or could come forward and throw the hooks to the body. And Marvin Hagler kind of had that guard where he kept his hands down, kept the hands and the elbows down, and and pretty much blocked some of the shots, but still some of the shots were able to get through. With Jake LaMotta, I think some of the shots will get through, some of them won't. But I think in a matchup like this, I think that the pressure fighter that LaMotta was, compared to the technical fighter that Marvin Hagler was, I want to go with technicality. I think that Marvelous Marvin Hagler, who was in great shape, had great stamina, and did take on a pressure fighter in John the Beast Mugabe, showed he was able to fight from the inside as well as the outside. But I think as well as the interchangeability and the adaptability and the way and the thing that the reason and the reason being that I'm choosing Hagler for this fight, because I do choose Hagler, is that he was able to fight different ways. And if he fought different ways, then it'd be, and compared to LaMotta's one way of fighting, that could give a lot of trouble to Jake LaMotta, who just comes forward, and and Marvin Hagler, because he kind of just stand, in the southpaw stance, or stand in the orthodox position, or just square up. I think that would give a Jake LaMotta a lot of trouble. Because he would have to try to find different ways to win the fight, or especially if Hagler stood on the outside and chose not to trade with him, because one thing that LaMotta was open to was the lead left short right hook, and Marvin Hagler was good at throwing those short hooks, and was very precise and very accurate with his short hooks. So I'm gonna go with Marvelous Marvin Hagler via decision. He would knock out Jake LaMotta, but I think he would get a decision against Jake LaMotta. But anyway, that was the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.